Welcome on into the 45th edition of the Cleveland Sports Realm podcast, and we'll do the 45th edition in honor of our great basketball player here in town, Donovan Mitchell. I'm Jerome, that's Rob. Producer Eric's behind the screen, and we have a special guest joining us this evening for the 45th edition. Real quick, our normal co-host, little housekeeping, Kevin, is unfortunately sick today, so our best wishes to him. And Rob, who takes care of a lot of stuff behind the scenes for us, does our social media, is also been on the show 3 times now?
Twice. So
this
back for my third time.
Yeah, your third time. Charm, so he's quickly turned into our fill-in host. And we'd also like to welcome in, you guys know him from Big Play Sports. He's also a fill-in host on 92.3 The Fan. He's doing some stuff for the Browns pregame show as well now. He's everywhere. You can find him on Twitter at NickPadone12. Nick, how you doing tonight? Thanks so much for taking the time to join us.
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me on the show. Glad we were able to make this happen, and excited to talk some Browns with you boys now that the season's here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the season kicked off as...
Well, wait. I just wanted to say real quick, Nick, also, again, thanks for joining us. And just real quick, for our listeners who may not be familiar with you, can you just give us a little background of how you broke into the Cleveland media area and in that space? And, that would be great to hear from you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm from Cleveland, born here, raised here. So the sports teams are obviously a big fabric of me. Growing up, I always really liked sports talk radio. My dad would drive us to school. We would have sports radio on pretty much every day. It was really like a ritual kind of in my household, was to just have that on when we were in the car. So ultimately that's, growing up, kind of what I wanted to do and kind of what I wanted to get into. I realized the NBA didn't really have a big market for 5'9" white guards. We were pretty slow. So I figured I'd settle on the next best thing once I realized, probably around like 7th or 8th grade, that the NBA was not going to happen. This was literally my, kind of dream since I was in about 8th or 9th grade. And it's just been really cool ever since. I kind of got my start here in Cleveland with Big Play, did some blogs, kind of built that entire network up with Dave. Have written a bunch of places, have had a lot of cool opportunities to cover different events and stuff, and it's been a fun ride.
Hell yeah, man!
Well, that's
awesome. Yeah,
that's really cool because honestly, and you are a very much a younger guy too. So the fact that you've got to experience so much and done so much in media at your age, I mean, you got to be very proud of yourself for what you've done, Nick.
Yeah. Thank you. I know that it's fascinating. There are definitely not many young people in my position, and I feel very privileged and very lucky and just overall blessed that I've had the opportunity to do a number of the cool things that I've been able to do. And I like to kind of think that, like, even though I've done a lot, that kind of in a lot of ways I'm still just getting started. So I appreciate you guys, because it's been fun, and I'm glad that people see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said, thanks again for taking the time to join us.
Also, Jerome, you missed in his introductions, Twitter legend on that resume too.
Yeah,
the legend of Twitter.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been at it for a minute. Like, people don't realize, like a lot of, and I get that I'm blessed, with what I'm about to say. A lot of kids, will hit me up and stuff. Not kids, but like younger people that want to get into this industry, and they ask, like, how did I do it? How did I, like, looking for me to be a mentor? And I'm like, I'm not a mentor. I need a mentor. But like, I literally tell everybody I'm like Twitter, like the sports conversation just lives on Twitter. Like,
it does.
I've been tweeting probably since I was in the 7th or 8th grade about
Twitter
Cleveland
OG.
sports.
Yeah, that's
about Cleveland sports, man. Like, and that's kind of like what unlocked my passion for all of this, because I'm like, you really can build community. You really can have like meaningful conversations with people like what we're having right now, just off the internet, like just meeting people on the internet, connecting on the internet. Like, every job that I've gotten in the Cleveland sports space in some way, shape, or form has come from being involved on the internet. So yeah, I definitely I appreciate the Twitter OG label, because I've quite literally been tweeting about Cleveland sports like more time that I've been alive than not.
Yeah.
Same for myself. And if you go back and look at my Twitter as well, and I've seen yours too, I'd say 95% of my tweets, and probably even higher for you, are based upon the sports teams that do drive so much passion out of people and stuff. And, and you're the same way, obviously. So like he said, we definitely appreciate you taking the time to join us, Nick. So ready to get into it?
Yeah, definitely.
So let's get into that opener yesterday. As they so often have done since 1999, as you know as well as we do, they came back and lost the opener. To me, this one felt a little bit different because I think we had no idea what to expect, right? We're going into it with a 40-year-old quarterback who also started the opener when all three of us were still in middle school in 2008 for the Baltimore Ravens. He comes out there, Nick, and I thought looked pretty darn good. Both interceptions, not his fault. I liked the game plan from Stefanski. I was shocked kind of how much they threw the ball, though, but obviously we also know there wasn't really going on much there in the running game for Ford and Sampson. Overall, though, I guess we'll open this up. Your thoughts on Flacco yesterday? I thought he was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I thought Flacco was good. You take some of the risks and some of the downfield stuff that he does, and ultimately, that led to interceptions. I'm with you guys. I don't put those interceptions on him, like not in the slightest. What do you do? Yeah, at some point, were they perfect passes? No, but if the ball is hitting you, like this is football elementary. This is CYO type stuff. Like if the ball is hitting you in the hands or in the chest, you're taught to catch it. And this is the highest level. Like those guys have to make those catches. I'm sure we'll get into the kickers need to make their kicks. It is just the simple stuff. And that's what separates the good teams from the bad teams in this league, where the margin of victory and the margin of defeat are also small. And they didn't do the small things. And that's ultimately why they are 0-1. But I thought Flacco was good.
I agree with you. Dylan Sampson impressed me. We had heard from them out of Berea the whole time that it was going to be Jerome Ford, was going to be RB1. Dylan Sampson got the first carry. I looked at the snap count today, though, and I saw that Ford ended up playing more snaps, but it seemed to me like they couldn't run the ball effectively, and Stefanski's way to challenge that or, kind of make up for that, I guess you could say for lack of better words, was to the swing pass out of the backfield. And what I was really impressed with was Sampson, his ability to make the first man miss. And obviously this is a kid who has a lot of talent. He didn't win SEC Offensive Player of the Year for nothing.
Yeah, man. I mean, watching Dylan Sampson in week one really just has me more excited for Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah.
Because that is going to be a really tremendous 1-2 punch. I think Browns fans should be really excited about that. Losing Nick Chubb sucked, but once you saw the vision of how they were going to replace him with Judkins and Sampson, it made it hurt a little bit less for me because I really liked both of those players coming out. Obviously, getting Quinshon on the field and acclimated into the offense is going to be the next big thing, but yeah, I like how they got Dylan Sampson involved. I think you got to get him in space. I mean, I think we saw even on some of those runs between the tackles, he's an explosive little guy. He is going to, once he gets moving, there's going to be little stopping him. But it's just getting him moving and getting him into those right spots. I like what I saw out of him. And for Jerome Ford, he's the vet. I think he's going to continue to get touches as long as they're still easing Quinshon Judkins back into things. But the Browns told you what they felt about Jerome Ford this offseason when he had to restructure his contract just to kind of guarantee himself a roster spot. The fact that he was the incumbent RB1 and they still went ahead and drafted 2 kids to put in front of him on the depth chart. They don't think very highly of him. They're almost being forced to play him right now. You guys, Rocket Sanders was getting run in that.
Yeah.
They do not like Jerome Ford all that much. I'd expect this to be his last year with the Browns, and I feel like probably by the end of the season, we're probably not even really seeing him on the field all that much.
Yeah, I've never thought Ford. I've never really liked watching Jerome Ford that much. To me, he's a guy that doesn't hit the holes very hard. Doesn't seem like a very patient running back. And I'm not going to be sad when ultimately I agree with you when he walks away. And that is because, like you said, we do seem to have 2 dynamic backs. And like a lot of the Browns roster told you, and like Kevin Stefanski told you before the season even started, to get back to that playoff team format, which was we leaned on the run game, and that's what we're going to have to do. And I think a dynamic back like Judkins is going to be really, really fun to watch in a Stefanski offense. And I think, a 1-2 punch like we had with Hunt and Chubb could get us back in a position where we have an offense that can finally move the ball down the field. And also, I didn't share what I thought on Flacco either. I thought, anytime you have a guy that can sling the rock, for almost 300 yards, can still get 45 pass attempts out of him, I think there's a lot to be encouraged about for the rest of the year. Again, was it perfect ball placement? Maybe not, but it still hit the guys in the letters and they missed them. And at the end of the day, I think Flacco showed that if he stays healthy, he can be the quarterback of this team for 17 games this year. And I think that's encouraging because we need some stability there that we haven't had in quite a while.
I wonder if he's going to get that opportunity to play all 17. Ultimately, the Browns value their process over results. That's one thing about this regime and this organization that kind of drives me a bit crazy. At some point, though, this is the National Football League. We all know it stands for not for long. The results need to start coming true, or else you have a broken process. And I think, for Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, right? You've been in these positions since 2020, before the global pandemic. And if we were to tell you now what we know, or if we were to tell you then what we know now in January 2020, that, hey, in 5 years, 6 years, Joe Flacco is going to be your starting quarterback, you would say to yourself, well, this has been a colossal failure. So I do think at some point there's going to be a little bit of pressure to play Dylan Gabriel. I know they really want to slow play Shedeur Sanders. He's the third string quarterback for a reason. You guys saw that report, I'm sure, from Diana Rossini, who said in order for him to get on the field this year, something weird needs to happen. Well, guess what? This is the Cleveland Browns. Something weird happens literally every single season.
Multiple times this season.
So I'm definitely curious to see how the entire quarterback thing unfolds. I personally don't think it's going to be Flacco for all 17 games. I think they're going to make a change at some point, even if he is healthy, but we'll see how it plays out. You're 0-1. There's a lot to be encouraged by because the young players did look good. I just wonder where that win comes when you look at the next 5 games, and I wonder how long they let Flacco go if you're hovering around a really ugly record going into that bye week.
Yeah, the schedule is unforgiving for these first 5 games, I believe. I forget who the first break is. I think the Dolphins actually for the first part of the season. I think the Dolphins, I was looking at the schedule again today, and I said, wow, that seems like our first winnable game right now. No, and I agree with you. If I was a betting man right now, if somebody said, hand me over $100 if you think Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback for all 17 games, I definitely don't think that's going to be the case. But I think what he put on the field and the fact that there is pressure on Stefanski and Berry right now, this regime, to win, I do think if he gives you the best chance to win, if you're Stefanski, he's going to be the guy you have to roll with. But we've seen how that's gone in the past, and Stefanski's decisions get overruled a lot. So anyway, I'll let you take your thoughts on that one, Joe.
Yeah, my thought on that would be, and to what you said, Nick, I think it all depends on the record. Listen, if they go down and somehow beat Baltimore, which I'm not putting out of the question because it's the Browns and they always win at least one every season that nobody thinks they're going to win. Vegas thinks they're going to get smoked. They have them as 12.5-point dogs, which is wild in the NFL, as you would know that too. So I think it depends how the record goes. And what sucks about yesterday is all 3 of us here have been watching the Browns forever, right? Our whole lives. I struggle to take a moral victory from yesterday, as good as it was. But I can't, as a fan, feel good when, and obviously, like you pointed out, we'll get to Andre Schmidt in a minute. But what does, I think, got to give you the most hope, and I just said I don't like to take the moral victories, but the defense was showing you a lot of 2023 yesterday, and they look like they found an absolute monster at linebacker in Schlesinger. Mason Graham at defensive tackle yesterday. Looked like he got shoved around in those first couple drives, but that, if you look at the film, he quickly held his ground, and then Miles was Miles, which was great to see after the tumultuous offseason with him, Nick.
Yeah, it was all. I mean, defense balled out, and that's what's frustrating, and that's why I'm not taking a moral victory on this in the slightest, because you quite literally in that second half held Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, like that three-headed monster, that Bengals offense that everybody thinks is so unstoppable. You held those guys to 7 total yards in the second half, and you still found a way to lose that game. You outgained them in almost every statistical offensive category. You had almost as double the amount of first downs as Cincinnati had, and you still found a way to lose that game. So what's going to happen when things aren't all going your way? What's going to happen when things aren't stacked up 100% your way and you're not able to dominate the game the way the Browns were able to in terms of time of possession, yards, rush, like all this stuff that they had Cincinnati's number on, and you still lose? It stinks. They should definitely be upset about it. And although like I'm optimistic about the rookies, and that's probably what this season was about anyways, is talent evaluation, and those guys certainly look good. Schlesinger, I thought Mason Graham flashed a couple times as well. Like, the one thing about it is, though, like, you lost, and for Kevin and AB, like, you can't stack many more losing seasons like this.
I mean,
I just don't think so.
These guys have to be on the hot seat at this point. I mean, you look at this regime, and really, it's a total failure. You've gotten one playoff win over the last 5 years, and it seems like we've had more encouragement over these last 5 years than any of the previous 20 that I've been alive. So at this point, like, this regime has started. I mean, we all have to be wondering. And I was going to ask you, when you have a more meta perspective of the season, like, if it's anything other than, 9-8 or 8-9 this year, and even 8-9 might be unacceptable, do you think Stefanski's gone at the end of this year?
I don't know. It's such a difficult question because, like, I do think, like, Kevin has elements of being a good coach. Like, we've seen Kevin coach good football here before.
I think brilliant even sometimes.
Yeah, like we know that there's a good football coach in there somewhere. It's just like, and then on the same hand, we know that Jimmy Haslam's trying to shake this label that he's quick to hire, quick to fire. He's trying to shake that. He's been the guy around the league that's constantly looking for a new coach and a new GM. Like, that gets out in league circles, and guys don't really want to be a part of those kind of cultures. So I don't know. I think it's the ultimate question for this season, right? Is like, what do they have to do? Can they do enough? Is it something that they can prove in terms of talent development, where even if they only win 4 games or 5 games, like, if it looks good, if it looks like palatable, like, we can move forward with this, then I think that they stay. But I don't know. It is like the thing to watch for this season, though, because not many regimes get life in the NFL after a 3-win season. And certainly if that happens twice, like, I can't really think of one off the top of my head that gets another chance at it.
No, I agree with you. And I think, to me, to keep, rehashing yesterday, of course, I had them penciled in personally, and I said it on last week's episode. I had them at 7-10, but I absolutely penciled in yesterday as one of those wins. So now, I mean, if I was being realistic to myself, I got to go to 6-11 for my win total. And is that going to be enough? I'm on your page. I don't know, because I also have to wonder, though. Jimmy seemed like, when he'd get his annual press briefing, when we hear from him his once a year at training camp, he seemed about, well, the future. So if he's that much talking about the future, you wonder if these guys are promised next year already. And that's something we'll never know. But then again, things can change. And like you said, Nick, if it's 3 wins again, that could change everything that Jimmy promised, and those promises could be broken real fast.
Well, here's another thing when you're talking about, like, the big view, right? Is like, I have to imagine that those guys feel some sort of security because they traded out of a draft pick that they called the next Shohei Ohtani, football's Shohei Ohtani, in Travis Hunter. And you do that because you get another first-round pick next year. So usually the age-old adage is you don't want to trade for future draft picks that you're not going to be making, So I have to imagine that they felt some sort of security to do that. I have to imagine they felt some sort of security to really punt on the entire quarterback situation this year. Like, I know we had to talk about it so much because it was the one thing that was going on, and it was like the biggest mystery for so long of what they were doing, and they kept adding, and none of the moves felt right. But if you think about it and you actually zoom out, like this 4-man quarterback competition plus Deshaun Watson and Tyler Huntley there at the end, like that was the island of misfit toys. That was a collection of guys that nobody wanted. Like I love Joe Flacco. I know I've said this a couple times on the show already. He flamed out with the Colts. He couldn't 100%. Even get on the field over Anthony Richardson. Like Kenny Pickett, there was not a line of people knocking down Howie Roseman's door for Kenny Pickett. So I do wonder if they feel some sort of security because we saw them completely punt the quarterback situation into the stands this year. Like this is the most unserious quarterback room in the league, and they still ended up drafting 2 guys that they view as project developmental pieces. It is something to be said that they really must feel good about their security, about their status, about the fact that they can win a couple of games this year, because that's what their actions told you. Like their actions did tell you that they feel pretty secure in this thing. Now here's the caveat to that, right? You're starting to see every college football Saturday, some of these national reporters, some of these people in the national media are already starting to backpedal out of this quarterback class. Like remember in April when the Browns passed on Shedeur in the first round and Jackson Dart, everybody was like, come on, Jackson Dart in most drafts would be a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Like people are already starting to do that with this draft. Like, oh no, like you punted on your quarterback in 2025. This is your mulligan. You're playing it out right now. Like it's like a little kid at a putt-putt course that like hits the ball into the water and they give him another ball just because they feel kind of bad for him.
Or when I shank mine in the woods.
If you hit it in the water again, you're done. You know, that's it. You got your pity ball. We're not going to send a scuba diver down there at the end of the season to go get your ball. Like that's where this thing is at for me. I don't know.
No, I mean, I 100% agree. And I'm so with you on the fact that this quarterback class was an absolute joke. And I thought that, like, as Browns fans, we were absolutely lying to ourselves, telling ourselves there was any bit of hope in this quarterback class. Because, again, like you said, in 2024, Flacco totally flamed out with the Colts. And I don't care what anybody says. We could all march around downtown Cleveland with those Flacco around and find out shirts. But in 2023, he didn't do enough to get us to that playoff when he threw 2 pick sixes when the half started in the second half. And he threw the season away at that point. I don't care what anyone says. That's my opinion. And Joe Flacco flamed out in 2023 and 24. I still think there is a little bit of life in there, like I had said earlier in the show. I mean, I'm not saying that he can't get it done, but like this quarterback class was an absolute joke. And I think, you know, when you look at it from a meta perspective, like these 2 guys, you draft Dylan Gabriel, then you go down and draft Shedeur Sanders, the guy that clearly nobody wanted. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you clearly have no direction. You don't have any identity as a football organization. Like, what is it? Like, what are you trying to – you're clearly not trying to win right now. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all what they were doing. And that's why when I go back to my point earlier is, I mean, I'm done with Stefanski and Barry, and I get it. We're trying to get away from the identity of we don't want to be the guy that fires guys all the time. But at this point, to me, it's just – they've seemed to change their direction so many times. I mean, they're not putting a winning product on the field, and they've been here for quite a while now at this point. And I'm sick of it. And I know Jerome had said earlier, I had high expectations for this year. I'll be the guy in the room that said I didn't at all. And I wasn't. I've said multiple times the Browns are going to go 3-14 this year. And I said it to Jerome. I said it again. They're going to go do back-to-back 3-14 seasons. And when that happens, I mean, I'm done with Stefanski and Barry. So, yeah, in my opinion, you got no identity as a football organization right now. You have an absolute joke of a quarterback class. The offensive roster, I mean, you know, we talked about some bright spots as far as the running back room goes right now, but, you know, you have an aging offensive line. You have a wide receiver room that's clearly not getting it done. It's like, where's your identity? Like, where's the hope you're instilling in fans? It's not there other than a defense with some bright spots.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not ready to go there yet. Like, I'm not ready to fire him yet. Like, I need to see it through. I need to see this year. I need to see how it looks. I guess we got to see what the draft situation's looking like, and the semantics that go into that as they set up next season. But I mean, some of the stuff you said there was true. Like, it definitely does feel like their identity right now is probably talent evaluation. Like even though it's probably going to be a bad football team, like, man, I was encouraged by a little bit of what I saw. Like, I don't think they're going to win many games, but I think they might have found a dude in Harold Fan.
Oh, he looks good.
Messenger might be really good. Like, I think that defensive line is awesome. Like, I think they've got some things, and I think their identity probably truly is talent evaluation and figuring out who's good and who's a long-term piece and who's not. That's my view on it. I'm not ready to jump ship yet, but I mean, it has been bad, and fans have 100% of a reason to be upset. Like, even the Andre Schmidt thing, right? Like, how'd you not have a backup plan? Dustin Hopkins was horrible. And there was no backup plan. You got this kid from the UFL. Nobody drafted him. He's probably going to be back in the UFL one day, not too long from now. And I hate saying that because, like, kicking's hard, and he's probably a great kid. But, like, you had no backup plan. Like this week, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna go in with Andre Schmidt, or are we gonna try to sign some old washed up veteran? Got to bring him into Berea. Got to have a tryout, I imagine, and then make the team, get him signed, give him like. There's no plan. There's no kicker on the practice squad.
Yeah.
Why? You've got an undrafted free agent kid that was in the UFL last year.
Well, I agree with you, and to your point, maybe I was biased towards 2 years ago because Dustin Hopkins in 23 was our first good kicker since probably Phil, right? So, like, to me, even if you, like, look, maybe, and I know this is, again, my personal bias, Dustin Hopkins didn't have a good preseason, but why not, if you were so, obsessed, and Andre Schmidt clearly built up equity with somebody, whether it was Bubba Ventrone, Kevin Stefanski, who knows, somebody in that organization that they decided this had to be the kicker on the roster. I would have much rather went the route of, okay, if Dustin Hopkins sucks, again, like he did in 24, like you pointed out, let him start the year. And then if you're so hell-bent on Schmidt, go to him, because now by terminating Hopkins, you have Schmidt there, and now it's going to be a whole nother, Kit Kat and caboodle. And I mean, I guess you can go get Riley Patterson back. They had him a couple years ago. He's on somebody's practice squad. But I don't know if you heard Stefanski today, Nick, and we are recording this on Monday, the day after the game for our listeners at home. It sounds like they're going to stick out Schmidt for another week, but if he has a crappy week in Baltimore, you got to write him a pink slip at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're a little bit hesitant to, like, a big piece of why they stood by Dustin Hopkins even last year. Like, Dustin Hopkins was horrible last year, but they gave him an extension, and they didn't need to. You had no obligation to pay Dustin Hopkins that money. He was on a contract. He was going to be back, but they made a mistake, and they did. And then they couldn't cut him last year, even though he was really bad. And this year the cap hit was a little bit less, so they decided to do it anyway. But the fact of the matter is, you're paying that guy to sit at home, and, like, this is a position. Andrew Berry's been the GM for 5 years. We talked about that before. This regime has been around for 5 years. 5 years, the guys had 7 kickers. Figure it out. Figure it out. It's not that hard. There's 31 other NFL organizations that have it figured out. And like what? Like, I don't know. It should be so simple. Like, find somebody that could make some kicks. I get that it's a difficult place to play. It's cold, the wind, the dog pound, all that stuff that I truly understand. But at some point, you got to just figure it out. You got to go back to the well. If this dude ain't it, I agree. Pink slip, next guy. If that guy ain't it, pink slip, next guy. Like,
right.
You have to solve it. And a big piece of kicking is it's a lot of mental.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
So we have one more for you before we go, or I have one more. I think you probably do too. We appreciate all your time. One more question for you, though. Like I said, how do you actually feel about them going into Baltimore this week? I think if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm using that as motivation. The Ravens are having their 30th celebration and Ring of Honor and all this ceremony and honoring the 2000 Super Bowl team, 25 years for that. And I think if I'm Stefanski, I'm using that as motivation. I don't know how much that might be more of me as talking as a fan, but maybe you could get your guys fired up for that, get them going in there because it's like the Ravens, by doing this to the Browns organization, basically did what Jalen Carter did to Dak Prescott last Thursday. They spit all over the Browns' face by doing this, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's bad. Like this, and it's intentional, right? Like it's intentional that they're doing the celebration this week with the history, and the fans are really who doesn't deserve this. Still, like this is still salt in the wound to the fans. The organization doesn't really care. Like the players don't really. I mean, heck, half the roster wasn't even alive
when the Browns left.
Yeah, for when that happened. So like, I don't think emotionally it has a lot of play for them, but sure, the coaches should try to find any way they can to rally the troops and to get guys excited for this game. I mean, you're almost a 2-touchdown dog, so it's going to be uphill sledding regardless, but you use almost anything that you can in the world of professional sports as motivation. Like we see it with LeBron every single basketball season. Like he finds the most wild things, even if it's inaccurate things, just to give himself motivation to keep going and to keep playing at a high level. That's what all these pro athletes do. So sure, I hope they do it. I do think it's disrespectful that it's happening this week, and it is just another unfortunate layer of Cleveland Browns lore.
Yeah. I'll be down there in Baltimore trying to cheer us on to a victory.
I hope so, man. I hope you see a good one. I'm personally nervous. I know that Ravens defense looked a little suspect. I'm nervous about the game. I'm nervous about trying to start up the run. I'm nervous about the receivers. I'm nervous about the kicking. I'm nervous about Joe Flacco going back and playing his old team, even though I do see a storyline there that could actually be pretty fun if he ends up being the hero.
Amazing storyline.
But I'll tell you one thing, I'm
nervous.
I'm also nervous about the Browns trying to go up against Lamar Jackson with the Browns not having JOK. I mean, we drafted JOK to go against a guy like Lamar Jackson.
Schlesinger gives me hope, though.
Yeah,
Schlesinger looked phenomenal yesterday, as we all pointed out.
Yeah,
I think.
But do we think does Schlesinger have the speed that JOK does? Do we think he does? I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know both of those guys 40 times.
TBD.
But yeah, I mean, a guy like JOK was drafted specifically to stop Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is the kind of quarterback that always makes me so scared to go up against. And granted, we have played him pretty well. But again, he put out an absolute stud of a performance yesterday. I mean, he was balling. There is some interesting things going on with him, and maybe he'll get suspended. Maybe he won't play next week, but I think that might be a little wishful thinking with him. But yeah, it's gonna be a brutal environment in Baltimore against that team with what they got going for them next week. So I don't have much hope, but stranger things have happened. So
yeah, have a safe trip.
No, thank you. I appreciate that, Nick. What did you think about the game, Jerome?
Well, I think the Browns, I don't have much hope, but I think they're going to play it closer than people think, and I'm hoping that they do win because, boy, would it be sweet to start Baltimore off at 0-2. And obviously the schedule makers did us no favors by having 2 straight division games to begin the year. So,
yeah. Also, just tell me real quick how you think the division is going to shake out.
I think they got 3 playoff teams in the AFC North. I really do. I think Pittsburgh is going to be good with Aaron Rodgers. I think you got a little glimpse into that yesterday. I kind of like the Ravens to win it. I know they got let down against Buffalo. I think the Ravens win it. Maybe Cincy comes in 2, Pittsburgh comes in 3, and they're still a playoff team, and the Browns back in the basement.
Yeah.
Well, it's happened so many times in our life. It's unfortunate, but I hate to say it. You are probably right. Yeah. Well, Nick, thanks so much for all your time and spending so much time on our podcast with us. Obviously, make sure to plug everything you do before you go, please.
Tell the guys where to find
for sure,
you.
Man. Just go check us out. Big Play Sports Network. I'm live just about every morning on the Big Factor. I'm on Big Play Cleveland with Chris McNeil every single Monday night at 9 p.m. Network's growing like crazy. Cleveland Browns tailgate pregame show on 92 Through the Fan has been a ton of fun. So tune in to that every game day morning. And yeah, guys, I appreciate you having me on.
Does that happen? The tailgate show, is that on West 6th?
You guys still doing that from West 6th?
No, we're back in the studio, man. We're back in the studio.
Gotcha.
I know. I never got to partake in the West Six. We're in the studio.
All right. Well, thanks again, and you can follow him and find him on at Big Play Sports, of course, and then obviously at Nick Padone12 on Twitter. Nick, thanks so much for joining the Cleveland Sports Realm, and we really appreciate you taking the time tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Man.
Thanks,
We'd love
Nick.
to have you again if we can.
For sure. Let me know.
Absolutely.
See ya.
All right, so that was Nick Padone, and we thank him very much. A lot of good things he had there. Let's take some time and unpack a little bit of that here, Robbie. As note to our listeners, again, we are recording this on Monday because we had been coordinating to have Nick on, and this was his availability that worked best for us, and we figured why not have him on after the first Browns game of the season? It worked out well. Unpack a little bit of what he had to say. I thought it was interesting that he thinks, unlike you, he thinks no matter what, Barry and Stefanski are going to get another crack at it next year. And I honestly kind of agree with him because of the way the organization's philosophy is right now, man.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that he thinks that that we are. He seems to be a guy that still has some hope left in him, and for me, I'm not. I'm the kind of guy that right now where I'm standing is I don't have that much faith left in this football team. Again, last year, and I'll just kind of revisit again, like I was saying, we're 3-14 this year. I really loved what he said about the joke of a quarterback room, because I think that really validated where a lot of my thoughts were this year. It seemed like living in Cleveland, I couldn't get anybody to agree with me. And everyone was trying to hold out hope for some diamond in the rough in that quarterback room. But for me, I just had no semblance of hope at all. And it seemed like it was a joke of a quarterback room going into it. I don't have much faith in any of the roster right now, really. I mean, and again, the defense played good. There was bright spots on the defensive end of the ball.
I thought they played excellent.
Yeah,
I'm
not saying that they didn't, but it's just when I look at the roster as a whole, do I think this defense can carry us to the top of the division, compete in the AFC North, compete with the best teams in the AFC? I mean, no, I don't think that. And I think it seemed like Nick is a guy that still had a lot of hope held out in this roster for sure. But I'm just, at the end of the day, I don't have much faith in the regime or the offense, really anybody on this team right now. So,
yeah, I got to disagree with you because I thought yesterday's game was quite, as Nick said, quite promising. And I know it's a crazy thing to say, but Andrew Barry's draft class, for once, we haven't been able to say this much, it looked excellent yesterday. Obviously, Fannin really excited a lot of people with 7 catches, and then Flacco targeted him 9 times, so Flacco's built up a rapport with him there. He did have a drop. That was unfortunate, but the other unfortunate thing was guys you're counting on and veterans like Judy. Judy had 2 drops that were very, very costly yesterday. That can't happen moving forward.
Yeah.
Tillman had a drop yesterday.
Well, he had the biggest drop of the game, I'd say.
I would agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one that it was a pick.
Yeah.
And then it was the nail in the coffin on the last drive.
Judy had one of those earlier. It just wasn't as crucial of a moment. But I think there is some hope on offense for sure. But maybe it's false because the Bengals defense isn't supposed to be good anyway. But I also think the Browns not scoring a lot of points, that was part of what I thought was a masterful game plan by Kevin Stefanski yesterday. I thought it was ball control. Let's possess the ball. The best defense is our offense having the ball and Joey B not having the ball.
Look, and agreed with that, and I definitely think that probably there's some truth to that for sure. I think that when Kevin Stefanski has a quarterback in front of him who he doesn't ask to do too much, it seems like the team plays better. It happened in 2023, and it happened in 2020 after 2019 when they put the leash back on Baker Mayfield. So I think if you sort of put a little bit of a leash on what you're asking Joe Flacco to do this year, yes, the offense can be productive. My thing overall is that when I look at the team, I don't see a team that can win more than 4 or 5 games this year. I just simply don't. They're still finding ways to lose. I mean, here we are 5 years later under this regime, and it seems like it's we're getting, it's like we're the a guy running with like a piece of cheese hanging in front of his head or something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the guys that's on the treadmill that's running after it. It's like we've been so close so many times, and it just seems to just get snapped away. And it's just like we're still finding ways to lose, in 2025 under this regime, when the hope was there in 2020. Then it came back in 2023. Then, it's just disappointing. It's disappointment after disappointment. And I speak as a fan who obviously I have a lot of negativity in me because of what I'm accustomed to at this point.
Well, sure.
And that's why when I look at this football team, especially in this division, and again, and you've made this point too, you got the shittiest game that you can possibly get from Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Chase Brown and those boys. I mean, that's a hell of a loaded offense. And you got the crappiest game you could possibly get from them. And, of course, that is credit to the defense. And you still couldn't find a way to capitalize it. And as we're unpacking what Nick said, he did mention that earlier. So, I don't know. I'm not encouraged.
Well, the one thing I'll say is yesterday, I'm like you. It's hard to find moral victories because we've been watching this team. Listen, I'm 28 years old. You're 27 now, right? Listen, the bottom line is in our lifetime, they've stacked like 3 winning seasons. So it's just like you've been beaten down so many times. So yeah, it's hard to find a moral victory, and it sucks because I hate to pin it all on one guy. Football is the ultimate team game, but if Andre Schmidt could put a 35-yarder through the uprights, we're feeling way better on tonight's podcast. And having Nick on, we're all sitting here celebrating being 1-0 and thinking about the endless possibilities. And it's just sucks because I think yesterday, and Nick pointed this out, it is a game of inches. It comes down to such little things, man. And you think about it, and it comes down to me to three plays yesterday, 4 plays. Schmidt's missed extra point, Schmidt's missed 35-yarder, and Jerry's drop that turned into an interception, and Cedric's drop that turned into an interception.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. And I think what we learned yesterday, to your point, maybe the Browns don't have all that much talent. It is a razor-thin margin, especially in the NFL. Look, we can go and we both are Buckeye fans. Let's talk about that. They beat Grambling State 70-0. The Browns are playing 17 games basically against Michigan, if you want to compare it to college. There is no Grambling State that's coming into Huntington Bank Field this year.
And that's why the NFL is better than the NCAA. And we can argue about that a different time. But whoever wants to argue, at me on Instagram, DM Cleveland Sports Realm. I would love to have that debate with you. But go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. You were saying.
No, I just wanted to obviously we're hoping Kevin feels better, but he had texted me some thoughts he wanted to get in. He wanted me to get out to our listeners here on yesterday's game, so I'm going to run through those real quick. Go ahead.
Let's see what Kevin's got to say.
Kevin said his overall thoughts for everybody here.
All right.
He thought Joe Flacco played great, perfectly well enough to win this football game. He thought the pass catchers, including the tight end, Fannon's drop, and obviously the wide receivers let the team down yesterday. Outside of the obvious kicking problem with Schmidt, the one unit you can look at and say is they cost us the game, and that would be the receivers. Kevin thought the rookies were great yesterday, and I agreed with him. I make that point myself. Schlesinger was everywhere. Mason Graham, he said he didn't notice him all that much, which is probably a good thing. Sampson and Fannin were big time in space. He said it sucks that Fannin dropped that ball because obviously he was playing a great game. Kevin thought the defense reminded him a lot of 2023. He said it was great that obviously the drama-filled offseason with Myles did not cause anything because let's give Myles Garrett a shout-out yesterday. 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 5 total tackles, and in the second half he made Joe Burrow's life a living hell.
Yeah.
He thought Kevin Stefanski had a hell of a game plan, and he said in his eyes there are 31 other football teams that win that game, and it's disgusting how this franchise invents new ways to lose, which has kind of been the whole correlation here.
Yeah, that's what
we think it. Nick thinks it. Kevin thinks it. There's not many teams, and producer Derek's over there. He's got a big smile on his face because he knows his Bengals lucked out yesterday. Probably shouldn't have won that ball game. You guys can't see him. We can. He's shaking his head. Oh, yeah, he knows. He knows that Joey B and the boys weren't humming yesterday, and they got out of there a little bit lucky. So, I think we've said about everything we can about the Browns, but go ahead.
As far as like what Kevin's thoughts were, like, I think he pretty much hit the nail on the head that that you and Nick had said. And then, what I said as well just now is like, it seems like there's no glimmer of hope because they're still finding new ways to lose ball games. And it's like, how is this team that's still finding new ways to lose going to win more than 4 or 5 games this year? I just don't possibly see it happening. Again, like you said, there's nothing more you can say about Myles Garrett. The dude's an absolute freak. I mean, he's an athletic specimen. Yeah, he's a monster. I mean, he's an absolute monster. And yeah, I mean, you give a guy $150, $60 million or whatever it is, I would hope that he can do that. Also, shout out to him being named, I think, number 5 overall on the NFL top 100 players this year. I think that's his highest ranking ever. And I love the NFL top 100 players list because I laugh so hard when I go to see somebody try and argue with who's the best player. Oh, that guy should. And it's even funnier when guys are like the national media guys who've never taken a snap of high level ball in their life or played any more above their high school team. Sure. And these guys are out here going, oh, that guy's not 3, he's 6. That guy's not 6, he's not even in the top 10. And it's like, no, the guys that are playing against them are the ones that come up with this ranking. So like Steelers fans can cry and moan all they want, but like Myles Garrett is known around the league as being better than TJ Watt. And honestly, I think he was ranked higher than Micah Parsons. Parsons had a good game yesterday too.
Yeah, he did. His first game as a cheesehead.
But also Myles was ranked a little higher than him. So yeah, I mean, if there is one glimmer of hope for the Browns, at least we have the best defensive player in football by a mile.
Absolutely. And like I said, I think the other glimmer is what Nick seemed real excited about and juiced up is how good Andrew Berry's draft class looked yesterday, and we haven't been able to say that about many Andrew Berry draft classes in the past.
Yeah,
so.
and again, like it goes back to my frustration, and I know I was speaking again from a more meta perspective of how I'm sick of this regime, but like again, it's failure after failure after failure with them, and you talk about, you look at draft classes, you look at guys like a guy like Greg Newsome who had a lot of bit of hope when he was first drafted, and then he just has seemed to go down to morbidly average. He just is the most average.
I agree with you.
Good games, some bad games, but like when he was drafted and it was that first year of Ward and Newsome playing across each other, we looked and we said this is probably the best quarterback duo in the league right now.
I agree with you. I have a point on that real quick that I'd like to make though, because Newsome was shoved to the inside the last couple of years because of Emerson. Obviously, we all know what happened. Martin's not playing this year, blew his Achilles.
Yeah.
Okay. Newsome went back to the outside yesterday. Yeah. And I thought this might be a very positive change for him because yesterday, to me, being there at the ball game, obviously, where our season tickets are. We share them together. We have a great view up top. Greg Newsome was shut down yesterday. And maybe this move, going back to the outside and not being shoved in the nickel, this might benefit him, and hopefully it does personally for him because he's in a contract year. So
yeah, and I mean, for him, I hope that it pans out for him because we need him actually more than ever this year.
Oh yeah,
I mean he's it's again like you said, there was a lot of weight taken off his shoulders when Emerson was drafted, and Emerson looked really good. I guess other than he used to draw a lot of penalties.
Well, then last year he fell off a cliff, obviously.
Yeah. Newsome did have yesterday that one PI call, and it's like it was blatant, and he complained about. I think it was in the second quarter.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, come on, like, what are you doing? Like, that's clearly PI.
Yeah, I thought overall though he played stellar yesterday.
Yeah, I mean he played. He was like the rest of the defense. He played good enough to win.
Oh,
he
yeah.
He had that PI call, but other than that, I mean, he's a corner. He's going to get those from time to time. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy that it's like, regardless, when you look at it pull it back to the Barry conversation, it's like, I mean, that was a guy that was a stud. He was a stud, an absolute stud. It seemed like the world was ahead of him, and then he just felt like he just fell off.
Yeah, sure.
Became the most average player, and that just seems to happen to a lot of these draft picks that that Andrew Berry has had. I mean, it's the same story with them. So
We'll see.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm just not that encouraged with the team as a whole right now.
Well, maybe you'll be the lucky charm when you go to Baltimore, as you're going to be our eyes and ears on the road for the podcast this week.
Yeah, that's right.
So-
I'll cheer us on. I'm going with my buddy Tanner. It should be a good time. I know. As
Kevin's
Browns-
also going too.
Yeah, so we're gonna have two of our podcast guests down, road dogs, as we like to say, road dogs. But it'll be interesting to see how Ravens fans react to Browns fans in the audience. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, no more bad PI calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking, we have the guy that we sit in the season tickets with, and I was thinking of this because of the season tickets, and that's a good future guest that we should have on the podcast. Is that guy?
Jason?
Jason, yeah, our friend Jason that we sit in season tickets with. Drome knows his name better than I do, but we've been sitting next to this guy for 5 years, and he's so good at just calling out penalties. Like, he knows exactly what the penalty is before the NFL
He's a if you wanted to define a football guy,
yeah,
Jason's a good football guy.
Yeah, he's a football savant. So we had an excellent guest, and we're so grateful for Nick today, and we hope to keep bringing some more guests to you guys. We have some exciting things on the horizon here at CSR, so you're definitely going to want to stay tuned for these next couple months because there's a lot of stuff brewing right now. Drome and Kevin are doing a fantastic job keeping the momentum going, and there's a lot of cool stuff that we have coming for you guys. So stick with us here, and it's going to be really cool to see how we're going to go from here.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to it as well. Eric, thanks for all your help behind the scenes as always too, but we are going to finish the show how we always do with the odds and ends segment. So I figured for that this evening, because we've done a whole football show here, we will continue with that. Odds and ends, I just want to touch on the division. Obviously, if you folks missed it, Baltimore and Buffalo played an outstanding Sunday night game last night. But the bottom line and the silver lining and the beautiful thing for Browns fans, Matt Prater, believe it or not, Browns fans, we don't know what it's like, put the ball through the uprights, and Buffalo won in a fantastic ball game, huh?
Yeah, they did, and it was an excellent ball game. One of the best regular season games I can remember in a long time, actually. Right up there with was that 2018, the Rams and
Chiefs.
Rams and Chiefs. That game was amazing. Those are probably two of the standout regular season games. The Browns-Ravens in 2020 was really incredible, too.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was an incredible game. But, yeah, I mean, you got two just football absolute monsters going at each other, and that's, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. And I mean, these guys are clearly at the top of their game right now. I mean, they're, if you want to say who's the best in the league, you still have to say Patrick Mahomes. In my opinion, that's what you have to say, but just as a respect factor. He's the best in the business because of the way he wins. He's like Tom Brady. Even when guys were out playing Tom Brady, like, it was clear that he was still, in my opinion, maybe it wasn't clear, but even when guys were outplaying him as far as, passing yards, passing touchdowns, football skill, pure football skill, he was still, you had to say he was the best because he was winning all the time. And that's the way I'm viewing Mahomes right now. All that to bring it back to
0-1 this year. No, I know.
But all that
just
to bring it back to the point of, like, Allen and Lamar may have a talent edge, honestly, when you talk about just pure football skill on Mahomes. But those are just like those are the two guys like when they're gonna go at each other, like, it's gonna be fireworks, offensive fireworks. And I mean, that whole Ravens offense is a lot of fun to watch. Derrick Henry, I'm granted the fumble,
sure,
put them out of the game, but also, like, that offense is still loaded. And I mean, Henry still ran for almost 200 yards yesterday. Jackson was Jackson. I think he was like 13 of 19 or something, 200 some yards and a couple touchdowns. Like, that guy will throw the ball 10 times and somehow come out of a game with 300 yards. It's just, I don't know. I know a lot of guys around here aren't high on him, but, like, Lamar Jackson to me is he's so much fun to watch because he can beat you, like, as everyone knows, he can beat you with his legs. And obviously the criticism was he can't beat you with his arm. But that is just not the case anymore. He can absolutely beat you with his arm. And
well, I think he's become a better thrower of the football as he's aged,
Yeah.
When he first was drafted, no, his arm was not very good, point blank. But as he's aged and, the big question with him, and obviously we'll talk about that down the line, is he ever going to get it done in the playoffs? And we'll see, this year.
Yeah, but that's also the question with Allen right now. I mean, at the end of the day, the Bills haven't done – you could say maybe they've won a couple more games, but they haven't gotten the big one. They haven't even gotten there. So, we could debate about it if you want. I know we were getting short on time, but like at the end of the day, like Mahomes or Allen, Allen or Jackson, you can't say Allen's career has been more successful than Jackson's right now when you look at them as a whole. I'm sorry, you just can't say it.
See, I disagree, and obviously we are running short on time. We're in the final segment here, but I would say because of the pure fact Allen had, granted, you can look at the overarching thing. Yes, neither of them have gotten to a Super Bowl, but Allen has won more playoff games and performed better in those playoff games, so I would give the slight edge to Josh Allen.
I think Lamar Jackson is more dynamic. I think he ultimately has more talent. I know he's had a little bit more around him, but he has 2 regular season MVPs. And to me, Jackson he's the quintessential dynamic quarterback. And Allen can beat you with his legs too. That's obvious. It's clear as day. Oh,
sure.
But to me, I just don't look at it as I'm going to say Allen has more success because he's won maybe, I don't have the stats in front of me, 1 or 2 more playoff games than Jackson has.
Yeah. I think I want to say it's a couple more.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it is a couple more. I'll pull it up right now. Allen versus Jackson playoff games.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to finish the odds and ends segment here, and then we can obviously get back on that. Those damn pesky Steelers, they also have a kicker who can put it through the uprights, and Aaron Rodgers goes back to the Meadowlands and threw 4 touchdowns yesterday, Robbie, and the Steelers pulled it out against the Jets. The Jets surprised me, though. I did not see them putting up 32 points. And honestly, the Jets kind of blew that game. And but Boswell able to put a 60-yarder through. Again, Browns fans, it's nice to have a kicker who can put it through the uprights. We don't know what that's like. So that's the way that went, too. But Aaron Rodgers surprised me, too. I didn't envision him playing that well on his return to his revenge game against the Jets, if you will.
Yeah, and yes, I think him slinging for 4 touchdowns was probably a little bit more than people were expecting. But, we got to remember to put a little bit more respect on Aaron Rodgers' name. I know he had the Achilles injury 2 years ago. Then last year was a little bit, his numbers weren't as good as they were expected to be. And I think he also tainted his resume a little bit when he kind of took over the Jets organization and was, kind of controlling, trying to play chess there.
He kept Salah, then he didn't like him and all that.
So I think he kind of put a sour taste in NFL fans' mouths for that game specifically. For that season specifically. But I do think you got to think of Aaron Rodgers as one of the most talented, if not the most talented quarterbacks to ever play football. I know he's 40, but you look at a guy like Tom Brady who is still playing till he's 45. The medicines, and granted, he has some weird medicines that he likes to take.
Oh, sure.
But the health that we're at right now, the level of science and health that we're at in sports right now, athletics, is at a level where a guy that's considered the most talented of all time or one of the, I'm not totally surprised that he can still play really, really solid football. I don't know. Of course, screw the Steelers. But I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron can get them back to 9-8, 10-7, get them in the playoffs.
Well, our guest thought so tonight. He says he sees everybody outside of us making the playoffs in the North, so we'll see how that goes. Real quick, do you have those numbers on Lamar versus?
So Lamar's 3-5 in the playoffs, and Allen is 7-6. So Allen has 4 more playoff wins. I can fully admit this is where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong, where Rob was wrong. I was wrong. I thought the gap was a little smaller. However, my point still stands that Allen hasn't got the big one done. He hasn't gotten there. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he's an insane amount better than Lamar Jackson. I'm still taking Lamar Jackson for what he gives you on the football field. I mean, the way he can play is just so dynamic. And if I'm starting a franchise with any quarterback in the league right now, I'm going to take Jackson or Mahomes.
I'm probably taking Allen. And that is that.
Okay, well, we can disagree. And I know people are going to be firing off in the comments on that one. So
yeah, absolutely.
Let it rain on me.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you disagree, or let it rain on him.
Yeah. However you side, let us know. I'm also going to say this. Their last two head-to-heads, obviously last year in the postseason, this year, Allen's gotten both of those. Both of them barely, but he's gotten them. And as we saw with the Browns game yesterday, all it takes is one more point, and it doesn't matter how you do it. A win is a win is a win is a win.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rob, for filling in and doing a great job, and obviously all you do on social media.
Yeah.
Eric, thanks for everything you did behind the scenes.
Don't forget, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram. Reach out if you want to be a guest on the show. We love talking ball with anybody. We'd love to have anyone, really. So you can come live in studio at the great producer Eric's studio, or you can join us via Zoom or another online platform. But yeah, reach out. We're always loving to talk ball with you guys. Clee Sports Realm at Clee Sports Realm on Instagram, on Twitter, X, and on TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we appreciate our guest tonight, Nick Padone. You can follow him on Twitter at NickPadone12. Check out all the stuff he does over there at Big Play. They do a real good job covering Cleveland sports. They got some really good shows. They have Josh Cribbs has one. I believe Carlos Baerga has a Guardian show. Obviously, Nick has a show that he does with a couple of other folks over there, Chris McNeil and Gabby, and they do a lot of good work covering the sports teams we all love so much. Eric, thanks again. Rob, thanks again. That'll do it for this week's show. Like Rob said, make sure to follow us on social media. This episode will be available for you for your listening or viewing pleasure on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. We will talk to you next week. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Hoo, hoo.